shitty computer with this shitty software, just to kind of try to get the hang of it. And today, I wanted to attempt to practice to be less all over the place, which is difficult because if ever there was such a thing really as ADD, I've got it. My mind's kind of everywhere. One of the things that came up in a conversation today that I found interesting is actually off the beaten path from anything I wanted to talk to, so I'm already deviating. Okay, what was it that we were talking about? That's right. When you can actually slow your mind down and you're thinking about like the least amount of things, and your mind is more of a blank slate, and that beta chatter, we'll call it, because I really like that, settles down, and your mind is just kind of like a blank slate. That's actually when answers come to you. Things just make sense. Connections just happen. I don't know if they're necessarily answers because you're not asking any questions. In that kind of situation, I would think for it to be perfect, you wouldn't have to ask any questions or receive any answers. You would just be in a state of knowing. You would just know. And that's why I think that there's no need. Well, I mean, technology is very cool, but in terms of technology, like, you know, developed to its ultimate extension, say microchips or anything like that, God knows where cell phones would be in 10 years for us to communicate. I actually think that the more that evolves, the more we actually devolve as a species in terms of our capabilities, you know, kind of. And I'm of average intelligence, so all this is just shit that runs through my mind. I could be completely wrong, but I mean, you know, our appendix at one time as an organ was used, had a function, and then it stopped having a function. You know, I don't know if atrophy is the right word for it, but it just became non-functional, and soon, eventually, we'll evolve to be born without it, they say. See, I mean, I know nothing. I get all my information from someone else. I'm left to my own devices to develop my beliefs and opinions, largely based on that. But my point is that if we continue to evolve to the point where we're using technology to communicate without talking, then we're going to lose the natural ability that we actually had to communicate without talking. We do this probably, I don't know, couldn't slap a percentage on it, but a lot of the time, and we're rarely, if ever, actually aware of it. You know, you've heard it. Most people have heard something along the lines of, you know, something percent, some large, probably bullshit made up percent, but some percent of language is non-verbal. Well, yeah, I think that's definitely true. I would agree 100% for reasons probably totally different than whoever actually said that meant it. I think that we're just all connected. However, that works, and say on this magnetic plane. And I don't even know what all that shit means. It doesn't really matter to me. It's not important, those details about the shit behind how it works. Or it's interesting. All that matters to me is that I can do it if I knew how. I have that capability. That tool is built within me, and it's built within everybody, within every single one of us. Has this capacity that we're not even aware of. For now. I mean, do I think we stand on like the edge of like totally losing that? No, absolutely not. But definitely edging closer to that. And if we don't exercise any of our ability, I don't even know where you would start doing this, I guess, but if we don't exercise any of that, you know, I mean, what if it's possible that, you know, 100, 500,000 years down the line, I don't know, or much less, I don't know how evolution is going to unfold, I don't know the future, but what if we just totally lost that ability, and what if that's intentional? feel like part of a conversation I had today kind of came down to accountability and personal accountability and being positive and being kind of a change or trying to perform the actions and genuinely be the change that you want to see, to playing a different part and being, I don't have the words for it, just acting the part that you want. That's important, and it actually does matter, and it does help, and it's a way to change, to really affect change. It's easy to say that one person doesn't count, because then that kind of, well, it ostensibly like lets you off the hook, I guess. Superficially, I should say. But really, I mean, you've just abdicated all responsibility. Just that, I mean, that would be me too, you know. And like, if you're doing that and being negative and not trying to be the change that you really believe in, just talking about it like I am now, then you're really, I'm really in dereliction of my duty to do what I think is right, you know, because it's not going to hurt anybody, and people will either really be drawn to that, need some time to be drawn to that, or some will, some won't, but some definitely will, and it can make a difference. I definitely do believe that. But I also can't help but get caught up in like well, I don't think that necessarily anybody has a right to go around dispensing social justice, but on the other hand, I have my certain feelings about people while I believe in sacredness and of certain things, like the moment, which is what I'm really been thinking about a lot lately, the measurements of time, moments and minutes, and I can't help but look around and see the situation that we're in, which doesn't even really need any explanation, because people feel how they feel, and that's whatever. I mean, they see what they see, but it makes me kind of angry to see people duped and to see them lied to. And I don't know, some people might say that that's more about me, and I don't know, and that's not healthy. Yeah, part of me, maybe I'm just rationalizing it, part of me agrees with those who disagree with me, or part of me also feels that I should be pissed, and that we're too scared to be angry. We think that that's wrong. That's what you do with it. Of course, I mean, some of the stuff I was talking about would be exactly the kind of thing that you would be like, oh, that's what you don't want to do with your anger, but you just have to pose a question. I mean, is every single human life sacred? Every single one. And the answer is an unequivocal, to me, no. 99.9% whatever, yeah, but a very small percentage, no. In fact, not only are they not sacred, they're monsters. They're horrifying. Our situation is terrible. It's changeable, and we're going to surmount this. But I believe, just I'm learning to have faith, and based on what I see, probably with more ease than I would have originally thought, but not necessarily, but that's definitely the direction that I'm leaning in. But, I mean, am I wrong to say that people who don't just hurt people, it's beyond description for a short amount of time to talk, they steal your soul. I mean, enact the cruelest, make the human species endure the cruelest things without us knowing any better. I mean, there's no words to describe the evil. And should those people be held completely accountable in every way that you can imagine? A big part of me says, yeah, absolutely, and they will be. They will be held accountable. They will be held accountable. But after great consideration, I've decided that the only righteous thing to be would be to arrest them and lay out the evidence and have them tried before a jury of their peers, because there would be no doubt. There couldn't be. Because the facts are the facts. It is what it is, regardless of whether or not we want to believe that it is, because the fact that it is just so fucking horrifying. I don't know if I can say that and put it online, but like fucking unbelievably horrific, deplorable things that they've done. Facts just show that they would be convicted. And I think it better for them to sit in a cell. The cells that they locked so many innocent people in, and continue to, right now, in this moment, as I speak, as millions of other things are happening. Complete injustices, if that's an understatement, is happening. We should make them sit in the cells that they pay private corporations to build and then make bullshit laws so they can throw people in a cage. Martin Luther King said, I think it was him, bad with names, but whatever. I'm pretty sure it was Martin Luther King that said something about your injustice is my injustice. We talk about community. I had a conversation today about community and like community-like things. Well, how about that? How about that? Meet, sure, start groups and projects and different things, but how about just in some way, some form or fashion, start acting like your injustice is my injustice. If something unjust has happened to you, it's happened to me too. Because yes, individualism is incredibly important. In fact, I wouldn't advocate anything that even mimicked in the slightest sense communism or socialism, no matter how warm and fuzzy it feels. The individual has to be protected at all costs, under all circumstances, no matter what. And then I defy anybody to contest that, because the individual is the individual, sovereign, and But the individual has a very important place within the community. The community cannot function without the individual. It's a self-sustaining relationship. However, I do feel that it's also very important that the state or community does not constitute the individual. The individuals within the community constitute it. Sort of like in a communist or socialist state. The state constitutes the person. That's actually where we are now. If you really take a crude look at the whole, very uncomfortable look, we are very much not like almost there, not a little bit there, like we are like in it. Where the state constitutes us. We do not constitute it. We just don't. Not right now, anyway. That's all fixing to change, but that's not the case right now. It's a stark reality, I realize that, but take a look at your life, and no matter how forward-thinking we are, or some of the people I know are, we are absolute and complete slaves in every way that ever mattered. For now. Of course, that's not going to be the case for very long, but... And then being able to think out loud and to talk about this stuff at all right now, I should probably dial it back a little bit and say that that's really positive too, amongst other really positive things that we need to send out there. And really, you can't do the part. You need to really feel it and believe it too, and accept a lot of things about yourself. It's such a process. It seems like it's not doable, but it is. Nothing comes without a little bit of pain or no growth. And we need to look at ourselves and do kind of, I don't know if you want to call it an inventory. That even doesn't seem like it conveys the seriousness of it. But really look at ourselves before anything else can really change. I do believe that we are spiritual beings, if you want to call it that. Maybe our energy after we go, our cogitation, whatever, is cemented in permanence. It's woven into the fabric of everything that ever was. which brings us to the moment. And this moment is literally the culmination of everything that ever was. And ever, just ever. It's eternity. And it's ongoing. It's so cool. You know? And we're so ignorant to it. Even those of us, like myself, who've watched like all the really neat documentaries and read really neat books and talked to really neat people about just this, so easily forget. With such rapidity. It's unbelievable. It's breathtaking. You know? Forget. We get lost in the relentless minutes. With, I do this. I'm so bad about the fact that, I get lost in the minutes, realizing that there's a really, no matter how trapped I feel, how trapped I may be, there actually is an infinite wakefulness, infinite awareness, and infinite possibility in each moment. Each moment. Each moment that is something real, that I acknowledge. I have control over that. That's partially part of my responsibility. We each do. Recognizing interactions with people. I can't think of a better way to start than to separate ourselves from this notion that we are we have to obey a clock. This place is open till this time, so I need to get there. Business hours, by close of business. What the fuck? What the fuck is that? That's not my life. That's not anyone's life. What is that? Where does this come from? Who imposes this on me? I don't recognize it. I may have to participate for a very short while. I don't recognize this ridiculousness. It's silly. It's beyond me. I cannot hazard a guess as to why we allow it to perpetuate. But I guess it's warm and cozy and comfortable for now. I realize also that my opinions are shaped by people that are, I don't know if they're smarter than me. Shit. Now that I think about that out loud, I really hope they're smarter than me. Otherwise, that would make me doubly stupid, and doubly is a word. I just don't think, as I've said before, that this is the way that we were meant to live. Meaning, to obey a clock. And I don't want to participate in it anymore. I don't want to give into it either. So I choose, as I've chosen for a long time, but I really choose, and I'm going to start trying to put that into action. I don't recognize negativity and defeatism and people who want to perpetuate that. I don't recognize that. I want to pay attention more and be more cognizant that being awake and aware aren't just new trendy things that you try, like yoga or some shit. No offense to people doing it. I'm just saying, so many different things, whether it's health or self-help or spiritual, come and go as little fads. I really mean it as a way of life. Being awake and aware and cognizant and totally redefining the concept of time and something so much more natural, because just even thinking about that, even allowing myself to experiment with that, I find I can breathe. Thought I could breathe all along, but most of the time we don't realize we're not even breathing. We're in fight or flight mode. Even if we're just chilling in our car, in traffic or whatever on the way home, we think that we're relaxed, but we're really not. I choose not to recognize anything negative around me. And I choose not to blame anybody will exempt myself from personal responsibility, and I choose to continue to try, no matter no matter what happens, to continue to try to reconnect, and pull myself up by the bootstraps, I guess you could say, no matter how down and out, I get about things. Everybody has their own shit, but life is a real incredible thing. And what's really cool is that I haven't even begun to understand just how incredible it really is. I have no concept of it, and that's exciting, because just imagine the possibilities for all of us. We don't really even know ourselves. We have no idea who we really are. That's pretty fucking cool. It's kind of almost like having a do-over. Like, just scratch that, do-over. Not that I'm saying I regret everything in my life, but like being aware that there's this whole part of me, this entirely different part of me that can tap into incredible things, and that I can feel like rapturous, just wrapped in awe. And that could be like a way of living. I know that for a fact, that's possible. They just don't want us living like that, and that's, again, falls back on us for allowing some external anything that we can control, another person, from imposing this on our minds and our souls and our bodies and our habits. That's so easy to undo. It sounds overwhelming in its construct, but it's really not when I really think about it. In fact, it's so ubiquitous, it's brainwashing, and so just interwoven into our lives that it's top heavy, and it has to collapse under its own weight. The question is, in that moment, in that instant, what will stand in its place, in its stead? What will develop? Probably multiple different things concurrently. I doubt just one thing would replace this thing. It just doesn't seem very likely in such an exciting and uncertain time when anything becomes possible. At that moment, lots of things will happen, and I can't wait to play my part in that moment.